Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Rachel.
And welcome to Leisure Bit. And today we're coming to you from Stump Cross Caverns in the Yorkshire Dales. So let's go and take a look around. Today we're visiting Stump Cross Caverns in the Yorkshire Dales, where we stop overnight in the campervan. And on the way we stop at the Coldstones Cut and Toft Gate Lime Kiln. And then we head to the caverns, and then we do a tour of the caves, a walk, and then off to Grassington for some breakfast in the morning. Hey, darling. We begin our journey at junction 50 on the A1M, heading towards Ripon. It took us just over half an hour to get from Ripon to Stump Cross Caverns in the Yorkshire Dales. We could get out of town. On the way there was some beautiful scenery and plenty of places if you want to stop and explore. We passed through Pately Bridge on the way, which wasn't too far from the caverns, and we thought we must go back there sometime and check it out. On the way we passed the Coldstones Cut and Toft Gate Lime Kiln, and we decided to stop there and check it out. There's free parking in the car park, and you can take a wander from here to the lime kiln and up to the Coldstones Cut. When you follow the path from the car park, there's various signs and information about the lime kiln and the Coldstones Cut. And on your left hand side as you head out, you can then see the lime kiln and go and explore that. And if you head to the right, it takes you up the path to the Coldstones Cut. The Coldstones Cut is 418 metres above sea level, and it's a contemporary piece of public art. It's 500 metres from the car park to the top, and it commands magnificent views from there. Look at the scale of the quarry as well. Leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open. We then explored the lime kiln. Toft Gate Lime Kiln's largely intact piece of Nidderdale's industrial heritage, which sits 2 miles out of Pately Bridge on Greenhow Hill. Limescale dug from the hill nearby was heated by fires in the kiln to produce quicklime for local agriculture through the 19th century. The car park at Toft Gate Lime Kiln is a dark sky discovery site due to its incredibly dark skies and prominent position on the top of Greenhow Hill. We now headed about 5 minutes down the road to Stump Cross Caverns, which is our home for the night and somewhere we'd fancied visiting for quite some time. You can stay over in your campervan or motorhome providing it has facilities, and the charge when we were there was £5 nominal charge. The expectation is that you either book a table in the cafe or you take a tour of the caves. We decided to do both. Even if you don't choose to stop over, it's a great place to visit. You can take your dog as well, but dogs aren't allowed in the caverns. Plenty of things to do for both kids and adults alike, and they do special tours of the caves focused on children. Worth noting, there's toilets available while the shop and cafe is open. There are no facilities available overnight though, hence why you need to be self-sufficient. It was now time to go on the cavern tour, which I'd pre-booked. There's a well-stocked shop selling interesting bits and pieces just before you go into the caverns. Discovered in 1860 by lead miners, Stump Cross Caverns has a rich history going back hundreds of millions of years. New passageways have been opened up over the years, with the remains of prehistoric creatures such as wolverine and reindeer found in the caves. There's a route to follow around the caves, and there's also guided tours available. And there's a trail for the children called the Fairy Trail, where you can find little doors and things to follow and mark off as you go around. It's quite cool and damp and humid in the caverns and runs around 7 degrees Celsius all the way through the year, so make sure you wrap up warm, and there's no rucksacks allowed or dogs in the caverns. There's steps down into the caverns, 60 odd of them to go down and go back up to get out of the caverns. And some of the passageways are quite narrow or not particularly high, so you'll need to duck in certain places as you go through them. You are given a hard hat as well to save you knocking your head, and it came in very handy for me. Let's continue the look around, and there's lots more to explore than we're seeing here as well. You can also book afternoon tea in the cavern if you fancy that. Hope you enjoyed the mini tour of the caverns. Well worth a visit, I think. Just as we come out of the caves, there's a cinema that you can hire as well. By the time we'd finished the tour of the caverns, we'd worked up an appetite for something to eat, so we went in the cafe and grabbed ourselves a pre-dinner drink and then got something to eat. The food was delicious and it was a really nice setting. Cheers! We then went back to the campervan and settled in for the night, with a lovely sunset. After a really peaceful night's sleep, we were greeted with a beautiful morning the next day. Stump Cross Caverns is surrounded by some absolutely amazing scenery. And to kick the day off nicely, went for a walk out with Roxy. Just down the road from Stump Cross, there's a public footpath. You can just see there. You can probably see the sign for Stump Cross and the buildings just in the distance. And it takes us up here towards Grimwith Reservoir in 1¼ miles. So let's go and take a look. Head through the gate now, and then we'll head up the hill. So we're just near the top now of the hill, so let's take a quick look around. You can just see the reservoir coming up in the distance there, so let's take a look at that now. So we're now back at the caverns and saw a bird of prey flying around, which was really interesting. It was almost time to head on our way now, so before we go, let's just take a quick final look around of the lovely Stump Cross Caverns. Our next destination was to head towards Grassington, where we planned to have a look around and grab some breakfast. It was a lovely scenic drive along to Grassington, and it took us about a quarter of an hour to get there. So we're now at Grassington and we're going to go for some breakfast. We parked in the main car park in Grassington where there was plenty of space. We paid £3 for 2 hours parking. It's a short walk from the car park to the centre of Grassington. There's a bowls club just next to the car park. There's also toilets and a tourist information shop in the car park as well. So now we're going to head that way into the village. So let's take a wander around Grassington, made famous amongst other things for James Herriot's All Creatures Great and Small.
And behind us is the Devonshire Arms, which is the drovers in All Creatures Great and Small. And we're going to go there for breakfast, so come with us.
It was our second visit to the Devonshire Arms. We'd visited previously and had a really tasty breakfast then, and this one didn't disappoint either. I've always found Grassington a really lovely place to visit and would highly recommend it. We now headed back to the car park as we were going to take a wander down to the river. I find the scenery in the Yorkshire Dales absolutely magnificent. We'll now take a wander out the back of the car park, through the gate behind me and down to the waterfalls. The track just runs down here. Just keep following the path down towards the river. You can just see the weir coming into view in the background now. There's a footbridge over the river here which comes in quite handy. And guess who wanted to go for a swim? There you go, Roxy. Let's take a look around the riverside, which is an absolute beautiful place to come for a picnic. I'm not sure who found it most entertaining, the ducks or Roxy. When I was a young lad, I used to come to Grassington with my mum, dad and brother. Some fantastic family days out here. So Rachel, what did you think of Stump Cross Caverns in the Yorkshire Dales?
What an amazing place. Great experience, completely different for us. Food, absolutely sublime. I mean, beautiful. I really enjoyed it. And what an amazing place to park up. Staff, really friendly, very, very great. Love it. What about you?
So it's brilliant for a £5 a night, isn't it? And those caves were fantastic to look around, and food and drink available as well. Lovely shop too. What more could you ask for? I definitely recommend it.
I would too, highly recommended.
Thank you for watching.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.